Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, likes, comments, and subscribes are appreciated. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Very weird on the price front news today. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Bitcoin eyes key upside break, why bulls remain in control. This one says XRP jumps 20% in past 24 hours. Will price break $1? And this one says XRP jumps 19% as Ripple announces ODL corridor in crypto-friendly Japan. That's all the price news. Very, very weird. I looked around, even over the last 12 hours, there was very few things that had to actually do with the price. A lot of it was revolving around the fact that Bitcoin jumped above $40,000 even at the time of me making this video. Bitcoin's at $40,016. And there's a lot of stuff about is Bitcoin going to continue going further? This is why I think a lot of the price news is always kind of weird sometimes, because it's will it go up or will it go down? And it's just a matter of, the whales, if you will, trying to decide exactly where the price needs to end up going. But that's all the price news. There was nothing about Cardano. Nothing about any other altcoin. There was nothing about Ethereum, which is also very odd. There's usually tons of Ethereum price news over the course of any given day, especially as we get closer to the actual upgrade. A lot of it had to do with the fact that XRP jumped in price. I mean, I guess it's significant because XRP typically doesn't jump so high in price. It's usually around a good, 3-4% if the rest of the market is actually moving up as well. But at the moment, the cryptocurrency market looks good. We're still higher than we were 3, 4, 5 days ago. Certain coins are in red, but it's like a 0.5% to 1% kind of red. Most of the world is sleeping, so we'll see exactly what ends up happening as the rest of the day ends up going on. Yeah, that's all the price news. And let's move on. Next up this is insanely popular news, but I'm questioning it. In a press release this morning, ProFunds has announced the launch of its Bitcoin strategy ProFund BTCFX. This will be the first publicly available U.S. mutual fund that generally tracks the price of Bitcoin. And there's the little sheet of paper right there. On the ease of access and mass exposure that this mutual fund will provide, ProFunds CEO Michael Sapper said that compared to directly buying Bitcoin, which may involve opening a new account with an unregulated party, this ProFund offers investors the opportunity to gain exposure to Bitcoin through a form of investment method that tens of millions of investors are familiar with. Before I read any further, this is why it's touted as great, amazing, wonderful news, and I think in some sort of way that it is. I think it will allow people to have hyper indirect exposure to Bitcoin, or they'll learn more about Bitcoin and will be able to profit in some sort of way from Bitcoin if they're not explicitly comfortable with buying Bitcoin directly. But the really weird part is that they're not actually owning Bitcoin, the people who are actually buying portions of this mutual fund. This company is going to be, I think, having exposure to Bitcoin futures, and then they will base the mutual fund off of their exposure to the price of Bitcoin futures price. I think we are, and I know what's happening. It's just more of I wish other people were not having to deal with this. A lot of companies are coming forward because they understand the power of Bitcoin, and I'm going to air quote that. It's more of where Bitcoin's price is going to go in the future, how much influence it's going to have, the wealthy people are buying up all the Bitcoin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So a way to say that other people are into Bitcoin but not actually holding Bitcoin is to start launching things like this. It would make a lot more sense if people did get comfortable with opening a cryptocurrency exchange account or custodying their own coin so that they then are able to physically hold the actual Bitcoin. Because when you say things like compared to buying it directly, which may involve when you use terms like unregulated party, a non-security compliant so-and-so, it scares people off. They have no idea what it's even saying, but you go, oh, well, you're regulated, so it's definitely able. You understand what I'm trying to say. It's a lot of funds, a lot of things are opening up for people right now, retirement funds, this happening, yada, 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 that allow people to have indirect exposure to Bitcoin when we should be telling these people to have direct exposure to Bitcoin, because a lot of these are going to be based off of the US dollar. If the US dollar is inflating when the prices don't look exactly correct, especially compared to what Bitcoin's price actually is, a lot of these people are going to come forward trying to cash their money out in Bitcoin. Hey, I see that I made 300,000. Can I cash it out? And they'll hand them these worthless US dollars, especially as Bitcoin's price ends up going up a lot further in the future. So this was very popular news that there is now a Bitcoin mutual fund. I assume, yeah, this is in the States. So it's nice in this aspect, but we all know that the future is going to be digital. It is going to more than likely be based around the digital assets that we currently have right now, that we usually see on the screen. So yeah, there's going to be a huge divide. I'm not going to talk about that too much in the future, but there's definitely going to be an instance where a lot of people are going to want to cash out or in some way have access to their Bitcoin, and then they'll be so overjoyed to figure out that they don't actually own any Bitcoin at all. They simply own a US dollar representation of something that the fund was holding. Anyway, that's the Bitcoin mutual fund news. And yeah, I think this is also it as well. ProFund launches first physically available Bitcoin mutual fund in the US. But it's really not, though. All right, let's move on. Also, super popular news right now. The Federal Reserve said on Wednesday it would keep interest rates near zero and asset purchases at $120 billion a month. For those of you who don't understand the asset purchases, and I know some of you do, got it, is that the Federal Reserve, the people who print money in the United States, have been printing so much money in an effort to try and boost up the economy and also to boost up the stock market. Part of the problem is that the market is now, choosing my words, used to said action. And every time that the Fed has mentioned before in the past that they were thinking of stop printing of so much money to boost up the economy, prices of the stock market had begun to fall. So in a way to keep the bloated dragon at bay, which is basically what the stock market is right now, is that every single month they basically purchase $120 billion worth of securities, bonds, funds, whatever they decide to allocate it to. The issue is that all this money is printed, and that comes out to over $1 trillion that we at least know of per year, that's being fraudulently used to keep the stock market looking like it's healthy. And also the interest rates near zero. I don't know why they have to keep reiterating this every other week. They said that they're going to do this until the end of 2023 because the market's garbage. So they don't really have a choice but to do that. But the issue also is that the lowering of interest rates is meant to incentivize you to take out debt. But nobody wants to take out debt or have their money in a bank anymore because 0% interest rates. Earlier in July, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell told Congress that the central bank is not comfortable with inflation well above 2%, but the problem is that it's now over 6%, where it is now, but noted that the price increases in used vehicles, airline tickets, and hotels seem to be temporary. Part of the lie that they're telling people is that inflation is here, but it's only for something things. It's not for your rent, but it's for the mango that you were thinking of buying. It's not for the clothes you're going to buy. It's for a used vehicle. No, it's everywhere. It's in everything. If you haven't had the chance, I'm going to start posting more videos as well on Twitter of things, because I watch these things and I'm like, oh, I should have posted that on Twitter. Just to show you exactly what I'm watching, because I mention all the time that I'm watching these things, but now I've had more of a chance to be able to like actually copy and paste and show you guys what I'm watching. If you watch any recent videos of like inflation and but when they're talking to actual people, not like these videos where they're like, inflation is here, are you prepared? No, like they're talking to actual people ranging anywhere from the 30s to the 50s or 60 years old who are like, yeah, last year my rent went up by 9%, and this year they sent me another letter saying it's going up by another $300. I live in a studio. I don't even live in the city center. Why am I paying so much? It's because of inflation, and everyone's trying to raise things as much as possible, and people are going to supermarkets, and they're looking at the prices, and they're like talking too fast. And they're like, last summer, this was $3.99. Why is this $7.14 right now? Because of inflation. So everything is rising in price because of inflation. And for some reason, the Fed, and I guess you do this to kind of, I don't want to say keep the masses at bay, but if you go on TV, like imagine Jerome Powell going on TV, he's all sweaty and he's like, all right, inflation's here, guys. I don't know what to do. Everyone would kind of panic. So the thing you do is say, we are not comfortable with the current inflation levels. And if you're trying to buy a used car, it might look a little expensive. We're sorry about that. But inflation is definitely here. Everyone knows it. The richest people on the planet know it. And this is once again why they're buying up all the cryptocurrency, because it is a hedge against inflation. And this is why you're also here, because you're probably smart enough. You're one out of 100,000 people who are probably in this market who are smart enough to know what the term even inflation means, and you're trying to save up for a retirement or an early retirement. So just count yourself lucky, because there are billions of people who aren't even close to that. He said inflation has risen, largely reflecting transitory factors, I'm sure. The Fed said in a statement after the conclusion of the 2-day closed-door meeting. Part of the problem is this isn't transitory. This is kind of where we are right now. You lower interest rates once again to get people to be incentivized to take out debt, to take out mortgages, but no one's taking out the actual mortgages. You can't keep feeding a market $120 billion per month and expect that when you take that money away, like the market is now, that's how the market is. You have to continue printing this much money. The point is, inflation's here. It's only going to get worse, just to kind of give it to you in that way. While pressure has been mounting for the central bank to taper its asset purchases, basically to, maybe not 110 billion this month, maybe only 100 billion, when they have announced that they were thinking of tapering before the stock market fell. Remember all those days where the stock market was like, oh my gosh, the stock market's in red, and crypto would also fall a bit because everyone's panicking at the exact same time? It's because the Fed was like, yeah, we don't have your whole bowl of food today. We have half the bowl, and the entire market panicked. But now this is the only way to deal with the market. So if at any point they say, hey, no more money in 2023, 2024, that's when we'll have a stock market collapse. Powell has often reiterated that the bank's quantitative easing program advances its commitment to maximum employment. I don't have to read anymore. So that's basically what happened yesterday. I think this is also it right here. Yep. Jerome Powell said inflation could turn out higher than expected. They know exactly what's going on. These people aren't idiots. They make the monetary policies. There's something called, oh gosh, what is it? I'm going to find it. It's somewhere in my head. There was a show, what was it, on Netflix? It was something recently where they basically were talking about that everything that happened in 2008 and 2009 were basically like experiments. They were like, well, listen, the entire economy is in crap right now. We got to figure out what to do. Somebody came in with the idea of just printing tons of money, throwing it into the market, and it worked. But part of the issue is that you have to continuously do more and more money every single year, because that's how inflation happens. Like the money that you had the year before is now worth less. So to keep pace with it, you have to keep printing more and more all the time. And we're currently in this situation where things should have logically fallen down during 19. This was something that affected the entire world. It would have made a lot of sense if the stock market had completely collapsed and or fallen to more realistic numbers as the world was in a panic state. But instead of letting the world, do it organically, they said, no, print more money. Do exactly what we did in 2008. And this is where we currently are right now, because the market, for those that you normally typically have a heavy stock market pullback and or a stock market crash every 7 to 8 years. We are now in the longest bull run ever because of fake money that's being printed. So inflation is definitely here. It's only going to get worse. And it's basically, I hope you are in the right boat, because there's definitely a boat that has a hole at the bottom of it, and the hole keeps getting bigger, and they're like, no, it's fine. Just put more tissue on top of it. Anyway, that's the Fed news. And let's move on. Probably one of my more favorite stories that we've had in the recent past. If you weren't here around 2000, I want to say 15, 16, 17, 18, maybe even 19. It's been a very long period. There have been a lot of governmental and economic checks on the cryptocurrency space to see if the cryptocurrency space what's the word? Is a threat in any way to the current financial system. The news constantly, every single year, was no. Cryptocurrencies are not in any way, shape, or form a threat to the current monetary system. They lack the volume, they lack the market cap, they lack the adoption rate. It was the same thing over and over and over. With the advent of Facebook coin, this kind of all changed because they realized very quick, and I don't know who exactly. What I think it came down to was that I think these people thought that the internet was simply Instagram or YouTube or people sending text messages back and forth. They didn't realize that there were actual digital implications that could take place with everyone having a laptop and having a smartphone, being able to transact completely online, or a company like Facebook being able to create a digital representation of value and simply saying, hey, everyone can use this instead. They begin to panic, they begin to freak out and simply say, no, this can't be a thing. Money is only created by a government. This is the way that it's always been because we have control over everything. So moving forward and moving along, we now see that Bitcoin is a force to be reckoned with, dare I say in any way. The news, even from people within the cryptocurrency space, has been for a long time, well, Bitcoin's too slow. And then we have the Lightning Network, and now they have nothing, not much to say. Well, Bitcoin only does this, and then we end up having this. Or Bitcoin only does that. Bitcoin's price is too low. Bitcoin's market cap is this. There's no Bitcoin adoption. If we are getting the news, us, every single day that there's a new company, a new institution, a new bank who's getting into the Bitcoin space, who's buying up tons of Bitcoin, who has a new Bitcoin fund, who has a new Bitcoin ETF, ETN, ETP around the world, it's clear that the adoption is there. Based on the actual metrics that we have right now, this is why it's very significant that we have the stock to flow ratio and all these other banks and institutions who've been talking about where Bitcoin's price is going to go just based off of actual supply and basic demand. In that, the current number of people who are in the Bitcoin market and the cryptocurrency market, if this number remains and the amount of Bitcoin every 4 years continues to fall down in the actual creation of the coins, well, then we can see that Bitcoin's price will logically rise once again, supply and demand, just based off of the current people who are in the market. As economic stability around the world begins to completely crumble, and there are tons of countries around the world, you probably have seen them, maybe you have not seen them, who are going through it, and the word isn't even an economic hardship. Their governments are taking all the money away from their citizens. This is actually happening. There's like 7 countries in the world right now where this is currently taking place. These people are also finding out, hey, we only have X amount of money. Let's start moving it into the cryptocurrency space as well. This is where we currently are right now. It's this great divergence. This is why I said the mutual fund news is cool, but people should actually be physically holding these assets, because in the future, when they want actual access to their assets, they won't be able to have them because it's tied up in this mutual fund that has physical exposure to a Bitcoin and et cetera, et cetera. This is why this is one of my favorite news stories in a very long time, because it's the admitting that the cryptocurrency space is now something that they have to pay attention to, but we are so wrapped up in everything now. It's kind of you'll see. The International Monetary Fund says that granting crypto assets such as Bitcoin a legal tender status presents a threat to the macroeconomic stability. This mainly, in part, has to do with El Salvador. The IMF and the World Bank have recently come out saying that El Salvador needs to be careful because they have basically chosen the side of evil. They chose to have Bitcoin as legal tender without asking the International Monetary Fund or the World Bank if it was okay with them that El Salvador did that. In a new blog post, the International Monetary Fund says that adopting Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies as a national currency is a step too far that can negatively impact a country's economic stability and financial integrity. The idea being, you are not. So for those of you who don't know, at the end of WW2, the world basically came together. All the winners came together and said, this is how the world is going to work now. You have this power, you have this power, you have this so-and-so around the 50s, 58, somewhere around there. These other branches of money began to come up, the IMF, the World Bank, the so-and-so, and they were basically responsible for interest rates, and to make sure that the money was relatively stable across countries that, they were the basis of $1 is worth 3 of this dollars kind of thing. But as time went on, they got all these extra powers where basically they were able to tell other countries, no, you can't do that. So they have all this extra power, and this is basically what we're seeing right now. When they talk about the actual economic stability, if you do not and have not bent the knee to the US dollar, if you ever need financial help, I'm sorry, you're not going to get it. As far as economic stability, they can also change interest rates and move other things around, or tell other countries, hey, you should do this kind of so-and-so to mess with another country. We live in a very corrupt world, and only very few people actually understand the extent of where it actually is right now. According to the IMF, one consequence of adopting crypto as legal tender is the time and resources it would take for people to figure out which money to use. Pay attention to this. They said the most direct cost of widespread adoption of crypto as an asset class, such as Bitcoin, is macroeconomic stability. If goods and services were priced in both real currency and a crypto asset, households and businesses would spend significant time and resources choosing which money to hold, as opposed to engaging in productive activities. No, they would hold the actual real money, which is cryptocurrencies. And I'm not trying to sound revolutionary and all these things. We know that inflation is here. We know that the world reserve currency is garbage and is only getting worse as time continues to go on. The idea that it would be difficult, or, oh gosh, honey, which one are we going to pay in today? No, that one lost 16% of its value over the last 6 months. Bitcoin's price continues to go up. It's not that difficult to be able to walk into a store, post a QR code somewhere and be like, you scan it. This is 38 Satoshis today. There's not going to be any type of actual struggle between people who go, but I really like the US dollar. I don't understand why I can't use it in a store. No, people are already realizing right now. I think it's something like 1 out of every 3 Americans right now holds crypto assets in some sort of way, because they're realizing exactly what's taking place. There's not going to be this kind of which money do we use today? This is why this is one of my favorite news stories, because it's taken them years to actually explicitly say out loud that crypto is a tour de force, if you will, that it's something that they actually have to worry about, because they see that no longer, they still have economic power. Of course, yes, the US dollar is still there, but you understand the red flags that kind of go up when everyone around you who's supposed to be championing the US dollar is simply going, well, the US dollar is kind of garbage. We bought $50 million worth of Bitcoin the other day. The international institution also sees major jurisdictions issues arising if Bitcoin were adopted, causing unmanageable volatility. They said also monetary policy would lose bite. Did you get that? Their monetary policy would not be as strong. Central banks cannot set interest rates on a foreign currency. You got that? Usually, when a country adopts a foreign currency as its own, it imports the credibility of the foreign monetary policy and hope it brings to its economy and interest rates in line with the foreign business cycle. Neither of these is possible in the case of widespread crypto asset adoption. If everyone is using Bitcoin, they can't set interest rates. If everyone is using cryptocurrencies, they can't tell you when and where you can use it. There's no international integrity that goes with Bitcoin, because they don't say that there's international integrity. Have you ever seen when a country has its ranking lowered? You know how some countries have like a AAA ranking or an A ranking, or that country has a B ranking? It's all of them who say how great or how powerful or how strong or how rich another country is. Oh yeah, you can definitely trade with them. They have a AAA rating. Don't do that and you'll have a AA rating. If everyone's using money that they don't control the creation of, this is why Bitcoin mathematically creating itself is so wonderful, because we don't need to know, we don't have to have a representative of Bitcoin coming on stage like the Fed and saying, this month we are going to create 190 Bitcoin. We think that Bitcoin is still going to work as long as you have electricity. Thank you. And then bowing out. No, we know. We know exactly how much Bitcoin is going to be created, when the halvings are going to happen, and the daily production rate. We know Bitcoin's inflation and deflation rate. Just, it's there. So what happens when you, for the last 70 years, have been able to tell everyone on the planet what they have to use, what they have to do, where they can and cannot go? You can't impose sanctions anymore. This is why this is also incredible that this is taking place and it's shaping so rapidly and so fast. And I mean, also the timing is also a bit out there, but we won't really talk about that. The US dollar is collapsing, and Bitcoin has been around for 12 years. And so the point is, yes, I love this news story. As a result, domestic prices could become highly unstable. Even if all prices were quoted in, say, Bitcoin, the prices of imported goods and services would still fluctuate massively, following the whims of market valuations. Anything you can say to try and get people to be scared of getting into Bitcoin, they will say. Anything to make sure that people continue to think that this paper currency that we have, that we've been told to use, that we've been told has value that is actually backed with nothing, they will do anything and say anything to make sure that they remain in this position of power. Remember when I mentioned before, about 2 or 3 days ago, the idea of using smart contracts for like a lawyer or robotics or AI in some other way? The idea is, in the future, we won't need an IMF. There will be no need for a World Bank. Why would we need these things when we can all ourselves run a node, when we can all run the entirety of the Bitcoin blockchain and validate hundreds of millions of billions of people at the exact same time if something on the network is actually fraudulent? We know what the monetary policies are of Bitcoin. We know what the idea of Bitcoin stands for. We know that we're going to have the Lightning Network. So the idea that Bitcoin transactions are too expensive would not be a thing in 5 years when each transaction costs 1 Satoshi. And even more so, that was also another thing that I read in another article. Somebody was like, well, what if Bitcoin reaches $1 parity and, each Satoshi, each transaction costs 1 Satoshi, that's $1. And it's like, it's a computer. You can upgrade it. The world would come together and say, hey, let's add a couple more zeros to make sure that 1 Satoshi thing is now only our equivalent to 1/1000th of 1 cent. I love this news. I think it's absolutely incredible. I think not many other people will be talking about it. A lot of other news that you see from other YouTubers is always like hype and prices and where things are going to go. And look at where this coin is going. You got to buy unicorn, dog face, toenail swap because it's going to make you a millionaire. No, it's the admitting from the International Monetary Fund that as Bitcoin continues to gain adoption, they will lose power. They can no longer set interest rates. They can no longer tell people in the world what to do with their money because they don't control the creation of the money. Do you know how many times I'm pretty sure government leaders wanted to be able to walk into a room and just unplug Bitcoin and then realize, oopsie, you can't. You got to unplug millions of other computers at the exact same time. Wait, you can't do that. I love this news. I hope you love it as well. I know it's not as significant to other people as XRP rising by 20%, but this is the door. I mean, there is no door. The entire front of the house is open, and we can now just walk inside of it because Bitcoin is going to survive, as is the rest of the cryptocurrency space. This is abundantly clear from all the institutions and banks who are in the space right now, who are gobbling up as much Bitcoin as possible. As I always say, let this be a moment for you where you should sit down and potentially evaluate if Bitcoin is right for your portfolio and if it could potentially in the future be economically viable for you and your portfolio. That's the IMF news. And let's move on. Next up, payment provider company PayPal says its users may not have to wait any longer for extra functionality on their platform. During PayPal's Q2 2021 investor update call, CEO Dan Schulman said the initial version of the company's super app wallet was code complete. The PayPal president said the company's plans for the wallet to be fully ramped in the United States will happen within the next several months. I assume, once again, for those of you who haven't been paying attention to the actual time frame, I'm not a psychic. I don't know the exact thing, but a lot of people are expecting us to have, in Bitcoin's 2017 run up, apexed in December, January. A lot of people, myself included, I'm expecting a major run up and kind of a final swoop upward around end of September, October, maybe November. It's a weird time frame, and this is when I assume a lot of these major things will be announced and pushed out, which will only help the prices to be pushed up further. The Super App wallet will feature high yield savings. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Their wallet app will have high yield savings, early access to deposit funds, messaging capability, and additional crypto capabilities as well. The most important part is the high yield savings. If PayPal offers, especially on, I don't know which cryptocurrencies they currently have on their platform. I think it's Bitcoin. Is it also Ether and Litecoin? I don't know what the bucket looks like. If they offer anything more than 5 or 6%, people are going to start using PayPal, and I mean immediately. They're going to take a lot of money out of their bank accounts, put it into PayPal, and start earning that. I mean, banks can no longer offer any type of yield at all. And I think we're going to see the rapid demise of banks and then the trying to come back of banks over the next 4 to 5 years, simply because we don't need banks anymore. Think of the idea of that these mega banks around the world have 0.02% interest rates. I'm telling you, if PayPal does this correctly and they're able to offer, a lot of these DeFi platforms are able to offer 3, 5, 7, 12% interest rates. If PayPal does 6%, especially as 6% is this golden number for the current inflation rate, people are leaving their banks immediately. So this is also kind of popular news that PayPal has a new app. Sure, cool, amazing. We know that they're already into crypto. If they start offering like really good like crypto interest rates, it's over for banks. Anyway, that's the PayPal news. I give them, I say September, they'll start rolling this out. I don't think they're gonna wait until like next year or something like that. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, researchers in Moscow. This is a weird story. Researchers in Moscow are developing a new service that will allow users to transfer digital data to their heirs, including crypto keys. The Russian time capsule will be capable of storing and relaying other private information, as well as a record of the whereabouts of valuable items. Experts from 3 Russian universities are working to give crypto holders the peace of mind that their digital assets will not be lost after their passing. The service will be based on blockchain technology. RIA Novosti reported, quoting Russia's National Technology Initiative platform. Why is I can't see the text that well for some reason on this screen. It's like this is super like prominent, but this is like it's like almost like super hyper thin for me. The joint team is now creating a website through which people will be able to store their precious. Oh, that's the red flag. Their precious. Don't create a website like people. You know how many times websites have problems? Can you imagine? You have half a Bitcoin, and you leave it to your family members, and one day you go to that website and they're having a DDoS attack. Or it's like website not available, you would panic. I don't want my money on a website. That sounds not okay. Anyway, through encrypted and ready to be transferred to the possession of specified persons, the project manager explained this can only happen after certain conditions are met and not earlier than 6 months after the data has been updated. Long story short, they're trying to make, or they've made a time capsule where basically your family gets it when you're no longer there, but it seems like a family office would be able to handle that in general. Like if you have like 15,000 to pass on to someone, like I'm pretty sure just giving them access to your Coinbase account would probably suffice. But millions of dollars, I don't think I'd be holding it on any website at all. This is why you hear about all those rich people having it on ledgers and other devices and storing it inside of caves and stuff like that, just because I don't It's a weird story. It's kind of cool. I picture like there's one part inside here where it's like you can even have like digital messages to your family. We've all seen like in Star Wars and every other single movie and TV show that has to do with like some type of a like when the will is being read and the family's sitting there, like they put this small device on I have a very weird imagination. They put some like small device on the table and this like hologram pops up and it goes, "Hello, family. I'm glad you're all here," but the person's not actually there because, you know, they've gone, but it's a hologram. So I kind of pictured that as I was reading this earlier. I was like, are people going to have like hologram family members talking to them? Like it even says somewhere around here, like where the location. Yeah. The whereabouts of valuable items. Imagine being like, "My gold is under the bed," and the family like has to rush to, all right. Anyway, that's the crypto time capsule thing. I'm sure other companies will be creating these things, but I guess the word time capsule made me think of like an actual physical capsule being opened up. And all right. That's the Russia news. All right. Let's move on. What's this one? What's that? And to finish things off, the mayor of Miami is spotlighting the city's very own cryptocurrency. The new digital asset is designed to generate millions of dollars for the city's economy if people embrace it. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez appeared on Fox Business to discuss the city's plans for its cryptocurrency, which was officially announced in June. Known as Miami Coin with the letters MIA, the city's token will be used to fund the development of Miami as well as encouraging people to move to Miami, which is currently home to roughly 450,000 people. The value proposition for residents is that the token holders and city governments can earn crypto rewards while supporting the city. Miami Coin is built on the City Coin platform. A user will be able to mine Miami Coin, borrow it, lend it, and even program it. Token holders can also earn a Bitcoin yield. I don't think I have to read any more. There have been many other attempts by countries, individuals, populations, prominent people to make their own coin. There have been a number of celebrity coins. Miami is not the first city to try and make their own coin. I do not think this is going to work out. I know people there would disagree with me. No. I don't know how to say no any more than that. You will have about a good 1,000 people who will try this out, and then they'll stop using it because Bitcoin on that day will be going up in price, and Miami Coin just simply isn't. I'm going to assume it's a stable coin. All right. I saw this news. I saw it on like 2 different websites. Sure, why not? I mean, I want to say prove me wrong, but I don't. I assume people would be more likely to accumulate and hold and maybe even spend some of their Bitcoin, or even just simply make money from their job in US dollars and then spend that as opposed to Miami Coin. All right. Anyway, that's okay. I don't know if you can see the pop-ups on the screen, but probably not. We'll find out later on. Anyway, that's the Miami news. Well, it's really weird. So many people have gotten into the cryptocurrency space, and I'm not saying that it's explicitly this man who's doing it. They've entered the cryptocurrency space. They've shown support for Bitcoin, and then they go, "Hey, we got another coin for you." And it's like, no, these other extra coins, no one ever ends up using. Like, nobody wants these other coins because they have a very low market cap. They don't succeed. And okay, whatever. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Empire Queen. That's Vampire Queen without the V. Empire Queen. Staking with Valor, Fudweiser, Mortified, Roman Gaba, Bitcoin Ben, Arachno Dave, Tony Ambroski, The Dealer's Den, Red Plum Tomato, Umnu, Wish Nikki, The Letter M, Stephen Dirks, Not Brain, Captain Something, and The Z-Way Lay, Crypto Black Sheep, AJ Cut 5, Speedy 655, and Carlos Was Like, Mo Barazi, Joe Shaw Show, VB Nerd 21, Miguel Grolet, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Bare Bones Mining, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Paternoster, Conan Don't Skip Leg Day, Snacky Chan, Tolek Banan, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Navarro Williams, David James, Attila De Han, Yasha Harari, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Martin Stoyo, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Anima Reader, My Leg, boy, Abiliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mo Hamaroni, Massive Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cole D, 3D, Damien, Setsuna, Richie Richard III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangialavoti, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Chest, Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Where am I? Leg Day. Yes, to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Mom's Corner Staff, Arfmedic17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger, Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel. Thank you for all the NFT support. Thank you to everyone who left a like, left a comment, left a subscribe, or is still here listening to me ramble on about these wacky cryptocurrencies. At the moment, Bitcoin is at 39,965 US dollars. A lot of volatility in the market, in the price. Right here is $40,016. Prices are all over the place. The news is that we have to break above 40,000, and I think go above 42. I think if we go above 42, this indicates a complete trend reversal, and therefore we are back in the mega bull market, or so saith the analysts. XRP is currently down by 4%. I guess the did you see yesterday? XRP went up by, I think, 22%. And then Bitcoin started falling. And I mean like a hard fall. And XRP also started. It happens every single time. Every single time that XRP pumps like heavily, Bitcoin starts falling. Every single time. It happened also during 2017. But when that was happening, XRP continued to move up even as Bitcoin was trying to move the price of XRP down. Every single gosh darn time. It went up by 20%. And then Bitcoin began to fall. Like, do you see these? Do you see these movements? It's really insane. Whoever is pulling the levers, get it together, bro. Like, it's just XRP. Like, it is not that big a deal. Litecoin is up by 2%. Wrapped Bitcoin is worth more than Bitcoin at the moment. So just kind of shows where things are going. Luna is up by 21%. Monero is up by 5%. Aave is up by 2%. FTT is up by 2%. AMP is up by 15%. Maker is up by 4%. Graph is up by 2%. Leo said Unis Leo is on like a ski trip. It's going down slope right now. Avalanche is up by 2%. And yeah, the market's a mess. Has no idea where it's going. It's abundantly clear that we should be well over $55,000 right now. But alas, whales are going to whale. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.